let's do a full face using our one compact makeup from Seint Beauty. And I just did an eyebrow hack. So my brows are a little intense, but some full face makeup will totally balance them out. Okay, so I have contradicting rule I want to share when it comes to full face makeup. For some people, depending on their contrast, like for me, I don't have a lot of difference between my natural shadows to my skin tone. Like I have more of a lower contrast, if that makes sense, even though my hair is so dark. For me, it's using more color. So definitely grabbing for bronzer, definitely grabbing for contour, maybe 2 blushes, brightening up the under eye. But that doesn't mean I need a lot of all of those products. Then there's some people who have a lot of contrast going on where their face might need like more product. So I'm going to do what's best for my face so I can kind of pull this off. But when you start to follow along with this, you'll know right away if you just need to bump up the amount of product or use a lot of different colors and variation. Let me also preface by saying, as a professional makeup artist, if I'm doing like a full face with a lot going on, I'm going to use a lot of different brushes too, because I really need my face to do exactly what I want it to. And sometimes having a few brushes that all serve a different purpose is the way to go. So first, I'm going to brighten up the inside of my face, but I'm not necessarily going to blend. We're going to just start right there, okay? So this was the blend brush. I'm going to come back with this later, especially for blush, because this fits my cheek area perfect. But now I'm going to move on to the blush and bronzer brush. Super dense. So I'm going to use foundation on this side, and I'm going to use bronzer on this side. All right, so here is my foundation shade. This is cream makeup. It's wax based in a cream form. There are water foundations, there are silicone foundations, and you can find those in different forms like serums, liquid, powders, etc. So this is a wax foundation in a cream form. So think of a candle. If you had a candle lit up and you accidentally knocked it over on, let's say, a sidewalk, it's going to fit perfectly into every groove and then be like smooth on the top. This is why, if you've ever gotten your makeup done professionally, you've probably seen them whip out a kit that has a bunch of little squares of cream makeup, because it really can be great for all skin types. We just might prep or set you a little differently. So look at this coverage so far. Kind of crazy. Let's just get the side of my nose with whatever's left over. And then you know what? While we're here, let's blend in the best that we can. Now remember, just like when you're doing your eyeshadow, you might have to go back into another color if you've lost it a little bit to reinforce it, to make it a little stronger. So if we have to go back into our brighter shade, we're going to. If we have to grab more foundation, we are going to. But try to work in areas where this brush actually fits. So meaning we're going to have to blend this out with our smaller brush. Okay, let's talk texture for a second. I've got a lot of like blackheads at the moment in this area that I just took care of, so I have a little added texture. I'm also 37, so I'm not scot-free in the wrinkle department. I also have very large expressive lines in my forehead. Genetic, had them my whole life. So 2 things. You just got to go with the flow, because you'll be able to set it all in place, okay? And it'll stay where it's supposed to, or your colors are too light. But once, take a good look how much of my texture you can see. And then in a second, when we start adding more color, bronzer, blush, notice how it's not as noticeable. So don't be afraid of adding color. Also, I love that the tins are magnetic. So if I want to work with one more exclusively, and I don't want to have to worry about accidentally getting blush, I can just pop it out of the palette and I can put it back when I'm done. So now I'm adding color. I'm going to start with bronzer. I don't want to reinforce my shadows quite yet, because maybe I'm not sure how I want my cheekbones to look, you know? But I know that obviously I'm a lot darker than my foundation color. And instead of going too dark, you can go in with bronzer. Or if you need to change the tone, like maybe your foundation is the perfect depth, like it's the perfect like darkness or as light as you are, but it doesn't have the right tone. Adding the right blushes and anything else like that can be magical. Okay, and I know not all of us love to contour our jaws. I certainly don't. I have a very prominent chin, so sometimes I like to just sort of bronze. Look how beautiful. Let's zoom in so you can see the texture is not as noticeable. Yes, it's still there, but it's like our eyes being pulled to other areas. Okay, now I like to take a lighter blush that almost looks like it could be as light as my concealer color. So you can either take your favorite blush that you have and add in your lighter shade. That was the first one we worked with, right? Or actually grab your concealer, take the back of your hand, mix the two together, and make a light pastel-y peach or pink, whatever you want to do. The more orange, you'll combat any blue in this area. The more red, pink, right? You'll combat green. If there's a mixture, you'll combat both. So this is like a pinky peach. So pretty. Look, it like eliminated a lot of that texture. Sometimes lighter is not the way to go, but brighter. So using the right shade, and it adds brightness instead of lightness. Now let's go right in with our blush. Now this shade might not like do it when we're talking full face, but we're going to try it. So both these shades are being discontinued. So that's why I'm like not saying the names of them, but you can find whatever shades you love. You can even use powder. If you're going to do that, wait until you're done everything, because it's obviously going to set your makeup in place. If you're like me, I like a little bit of this in my transition area. And since I'm rosacea prone, I don't mind adding a little pink into my forehead. So if I start flushing and blushing in my cheeks, it won't look like it as much because I have the color in other places. Look how beautiful this is. All right, last step is contour. I'm switching to the shape brush. So blend, that was our first brush. Concealer, both of our blushes. Blush and bronzer, we used our foundation and our bronzer. And then I just like having a clean side for each color. We have our full face. You're doing natural, you can use one brush. You can get away with it because you're just like adding a kiss of color. But when you're going like opacity wise and like trying to bump that up, switch brushes. So I just have my contour, Ash, right here. See that natural shadow? Boom. We're just going to reinforce it. And we're going to blend this up so we're not dragging the face down. And look at the difference. See it? Where we have it, but it's just like not as dark. Boom. And again, blending up. Perfect. My favorite things to do, especially if there's texture, is to contour the nose. It sort of blurs out a little bit and has nothing to do with the color as much as it's just creating a shadow. But if you have a warmer contour that's still cool, but a warmer one, you could try grabbing for an even cooler contour to help with those shadows. Okay, let me just look at myself in the mirror. Perfect. Guys, this is so beautiful. And then again, if you do want to, I use what's left to go under. And I'm like actually under the bone. Okay, then drag that down because we don't want to have a Halloween mask on. Gorgeous. Okay, we're going to stop here. I'm going to have a setting video totally on its own because I actually need to go and do eyeshadow, which I'll make a separate video for to tie this whole look together, because not only are the brows finally going to blend in, but you're just going to love the final result. So follow along with this, comment any questions, and then come back for the last two videos.